Well, look at our faces. We are people who got our prediction woefully wrong because, hey, we never thought that the pitch in Lucknow would be like this. But we should have known because this pitch in Lucknow, oh, he's a dodgy little bugger, this one. In fact, this surface in Lucknow has done this many times before. I would like to jog Zach's brain back to a time, his memory back to a time where Hardik Pandya actually called the Lucknow surface after an international game not fit for international standards. Do you remember that?
No, but that was on the turning side. This wasn't like that much on the turning side.
Just get back to
this was more on the English side, isn't it? It was seeming a little bit with the brand new ball, 2 new balls each end. There's all sorts of problem if you're getting in that test match length going.
Yeah.
And that's what I think Vokes was happy with. It was just a perfect pitch for him.
Yeah.
Looking at how so far the World Cup has been going for him, he could just relax, get the ball up there, and got rewarded for that. So I think it was all in all not a typical Lucknow pitch. What we've
no! Don't get me wrong. I was not saying that it was I'm just saying in terms of being predictable. We should have known that this is an unpredictable pitch. That we can't think it's going to be a 325 and be so confident.
Actually, they have relayed the pitch, so there was some work which has already been done. But still, there is enough help for the spinners, and with the new ball, definitely for the seamers. You've seen that little bit of extra bounce. Also, the Virat Kohli dismissal was a reflection of that, where he stepped out, but that just ball climbing onto him a little too much. I didn't expect it from Willie, but everyone tried to put Willie under pressure. He came on top with wickets today.
That's right, he did. So this is what has happened is that we, of course, were living in our little bubble thinking, well, every game the last few days has been a run fest. We're going to get a run fest today as well. But no, the conditions were different and they were utilized really well by the England bowlers, weren't they, Michael?
Yeah, England bowled nicely, but Zach's right. There was a little bit there for them. And when there's lateral movement, a bit of seam, England have got an attack that will always get something out of that kind of surface. You could tell straight away that Wokes suddenly was releasing the ball out of the hand with a bit more confidence because he could trust that fuller length because it was doing just a little bit of something. On other games in this World Cup, the ball's been doing nothing, so you can see he's been running up, kind of putting it there and hoping. England looked great in the field. I thought they were sharp. I thought apart from that, obviously, drop catch towards the end of Moeen Ali, the field setting, everything about England looked intense. Let's be honest, they haven't got much chance of reaching the semi-finals. So their job now is to try and disrupt, affect teams. Who knows, if they win all their games and something remarkable happens, they might just sneak in. But they look like they were a lot more intense. That's the one thing that's been lacking in this World Cup. England have just looked a little bit lapsed. They haven't quite had that intensity that we've seen them for many, many years. But that look back, I still feel it's a competitive score. Yeah, I really do. I think 230 a year ago, an England side wouldn't even think about chasing 230. It's done and dusted. But this England side, when you've not been winning and you've not been used to getting big scores, getting to 230 has been looking quite difficult, and that's without the pressure of the chase against a brilliant bowling attack. So England are favourites, but I still feel there'll be a twist in this game.
Could be, yes. 229 is what India got to. Now remember, as we're telling you, that of course the conditions were helping the bowlers and they were used really well up front by Vokes and Willie. There was a lot of discipline in the bowling. In fact, the first extra only came in the 40th over. So that's how disciplined the England bowling attack was. And there was good returns for almost everyone. You see, David Willey doesn't have a contract, but it's got 3 wickets today, including Virat Kohli on duck. Yeah, there's Chris Vokes. He bowled 7 on the trot, in fact, in his first spell and picked up 2 wickets there. Adil Rashid was effective as well, got some help there. So 2 wickets for 35. Mark Wood was absolutely brutal with his pace, especially towards the end. Liam Livingstone had a few gentle lollipops that he gave KL Rahul.
Yeah, and they're the numbers that kind of stand out. You look at all the economy rates on the right, and Liam Livingstone 4 overs for 29, economy of 7.25. You kind of understand using Livingstone if Moeen Ali doesn't work. But they went to Livingstone before Moeen Ali. Moeen Ali's a world-class spinner. And just because there's 2 right-handers out there, it's like the T20 matchup. How dare you bowl an off-spinner to a right-hander? You must make the ball spin away from the right-hander. But if he's a part-time leg spinner, who do you want to face? A part-time leg spinner or Moeen Ali? I'm pretty sure they'd have prefer to face Liam Livingstone. So those 4 overs could be quite crucial in this game.
Yeah, they could be because they did go after him, after Liam Livingstone. But the story for the India batting was wickets gone early. 3 wickets went early, but that meant that Rohit Sharma had to change his game. He had to downshift on gears. But Zach, he did that so well today, didn't he? It was completely counterintuitive to how he's been playing white ball cricket. But he was good enough. He was up for it.
Yeah, superb. And even with the new ball, when it was doing a bit, you've seen any batter will get beaten, and all those sort of things will happen when there is help in the pitch. But his intent and approach was very good. He was stepping down. He was not afraid to take chances on certain bowlers against with a proper plan. So that worked for him. That partnership with KL Rahul was an innings defining one. That was very important at that stage, to soak in pressure, apply yourself, and then make sure that you get to a platform. I think him along with KL Rahul did a good job of getting the team out of the hole. But it's just that the timing of the wicket didn't really help in India's cause.
Yeah.
But on the whole, approach from the batters was still to look positive, look to use their feet. Like you look at KL Rahul's dismissal, similar to Virat Kohli, but they were thinking of finding a way of getting on top of the situation, and that's what was good. Maybe 30 runs short at this stage because of the due factor, but on the whole, I think they've done enough to get to a total from the stage which they were in.
It was a 91-run partnership, and that was the important one. You see, they were 40 for 3 were India. And at that time, they came together 40 for 3 in the 12th over, and then they have reconstructed. They've batted, close to 20 overs and done this, 91 of 111. And putting into context the fact, Michael, that it was 40 for 3, putting into context that this was not an easy wicket to bat on, that makes this, if you just stand alone, read this, go 91 or 111, everyone's like, what's the fuss about? But it's worth fussing about double and triple because of the context and the conditions.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at India. If they can get a win today on the back of being 40 for 3, the pitch was quite spicy. The captains had to dig in, probably play an unnatural game, even though he played some beautiful shots. It was a very unnatural Rohit innings. KL Rahul almost had to play a test match style innings, just kind of graft away for a partnership. Every time a batter looked to play the big shot too early, got out. So that tells me that the pitch is one that you have to have a bit of patience and just probably play a little bit of the attrition, old school white ball cricket, and then you can start to get the boundary count going. But if India can win this kind of game when they know the batting's not fired and they're defending a low total, I think these kind of games are the kind of games that give you even more of a boost in that dressing room. A huge amount of confidence comes from winning every game, but if you win a game by 130 or 150, you know you've battered the opposition. Whereas in a day like this where you've had to graft and the captain's had to show a little bit of a different kind of approach, and if you defend 230 with the due factor coming in, so everything's been against India so far today, if you can manage to just get a win in those scenarios, well, I think that's an even bigger message to send to the rest of the teams in the tournament.
It's almost like the Australia win, right? The Australia win, till now, everybody's favourite win out of the 5 has been the Australia win because it was the hardest fought, and you're 3 wickets down with just 2 runs on the board. And so Michael's point is actually really valid, that if you can win here after looking at, look at it, 40 for 3 when the third wicket fell. Yeah. I think people had already started writing the obituary of, my God, how's this top order playing? They're terrible, they're horrible. The trigger-happy social media warriors were all out. But I think that's why, by the way, this is, and you like this stat, Zach, this is the deepest Rohit Sharma has batted since Jan 2020, so almost 4 years. To him to bat till the 36th over. Like, that's how much he's changed his game, saying, that's it, my job's impact up top, set it up for everybody else. Yeah. So today, he's had to be patient, he's had to negotiate the conditions, and he will just be kicking himself, because that 100 was there for the taking, because Warner's creeping up on him.
It was there for taking, but you look at the approach, he wants to be positive, he wants to show his authority there, and maybe he was thinking of that 280, 290 mark still at that stage. I think that's what resulted in that kind of a shot. He was not thinking about his 100. He was thinking, okay, if I'm the set guy here, and if I'm going to get the team to a total which is going to be a great one to fight from, you need to be that guy. And then that's what he was trying to do. There was a little bit of more turn there, that Googly turned a bit more. Got the inside edge, so didn't really get the timing which he was expecting from them.
But then maybe too early. If he's doing that, no one's implying he's playing for the personal landmark, of course, but the fact that he was looking to accelerate at that point in time where he is the informed player, he is set, maybe he will chastise himself for just going too early.
Look, somewhere when you are there, out there in the middle, you know that the dew might be a factor. So you need those 30, 40, 50 runs extra. If you have that, you can, in spite of a partnership, two partnerships, you can still be in the game. What happens? You look at the scorecard right now. There's only one 50-run partnership, which is 91. Okay,
Yeah.
on the higher side. But after that, just about two batters contributing in a decent way. So KL has scored 39, and Surya has scored 49 there.
Yeah.
When you're chasing down a total like this, and like how Vaughan was trying to say, if you are willing to spend time on the pitch, things are going to get easier for you.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at 240 mark, around that, as opposed to those 40 extra runs, that adds to that pressure, because England, when they're chasing, they will be thinking that you have to keep the runs below 6 runs per over to chase down. The moment it goes up, the pressure starts to build, that commits an error, that results in a wicket, the new guy comes in, then it's not going to be easy for you. So you can build that kind of pressure. So maybe Rohit Sharma at that stage was thinking about getting to that situation. From there, he can apply more pressure with his bowlers, and even if the dew is a factor, you can still maneuver a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, but far and beyond and above, he was just the star today. He has held this innings together, he's constructed it, he has taken it to a degree of respectability. Like Michael is saying, this is competitive given the conditions, and given the Indian bowling being on song, this could definitely be a competitive total. There you go, the support he got, KL Rahul 39, Suryakumar Yadav 49. When he started, yes, this is not the kind of pitch which aids the kind of game he likes playing. Moni, he doesn't. Surya does not like playing like that. But I like the fact that we were talking on the 35th over mark, and we said he will need to just adapt his game just a little bit, curb his natural instinct a bit. He curbed it just a bit. He used it right.
Yeah, he played nice. I mean, 49 off 47 is a pretty good return on that kind of surface. It's, skillful players need to always react to the situation of the match, the conditions, and what the team require at that given stage. I mean, there was a brief spell where India could have easily been bowled out for 200.
Yeah.
Now they've got to 230 chase. They'll have to bowl well, they'll have to feel well, they'll have to take the chances. But, when you're up against an England side, I'm intrigued with the way that England will go about this. I mean, 2 years ago, they'll just blast it. They've got a group of players a year ago, 2 years ago, that were all in form, they're all playing great. There's not one England batter in great form. It's not one of them that you look at and go, yeah, he knows exactly what he's about at this moment. Johnny Bairstow's been struggling. Milan's had the 100, but he's struggled since then. Joe Root's not been the Joe Root of the last few years. Ben Stokes, he's had that injury, looks a little bit circumspect with the way that he wants to play. Liam Livingstone's not been getting any runs. So, yes, the batting's quite deep today because they've gone back to the old method. But I think if England think they can go out and crash this, and smash the way to 230, I think they'll come unstuck on this kind of surface. I think they're going to have to try and play a canny game.
A canny game. It's a
game.
good point. Let's look down. Let's do a little roll call, right? Let's see that England 11 and see what you have got from anyone in this tournament, right? You had David Malan. He was good right up in the beginning. Yeah. Johnny Bairstow, for him, things have been pretty woeful. Joe Root again, no, not Ben Stokes, Joss Butler, Liam Livingstone. Oh, geez, he's right, Zach. He's right. There's no runs from anyone.
Well, there's no one that you look at and go, yeah, form. Yeah. You look at, Virat missed out today, but Virat Kohli, he walks out of bat. He just looks in great rhythm. He looks in great kind of movement. Look at Rohit Sharma. You can just see he's just in real good confidence state in his mind. There's not one England player at the minute. And David Malan is one of those players that he's either very hot, but he goes through a little bit of a period where he goes quite cold for a while. Joe Root's the key. Joe Root on this kind of wicket, the chase is not one where he'll worry about the run rate. He doesn't have to try too much. He's a good player of spin. I think if Joe gets 50 and beyond, I think England will win the game.
I think that's the important bit for a guy like Joe Root, who's got proper Test cricket pedigree. If he can play that Test cricket game here, wait a second. Not his Test cricket game, not this Test cricket game. This Test cricket game. That's important with Joe Root now. This new Test cricket game of his is, I love it, I'm a big fan.
The one thing I will say is that this England side will only think about positives. Yeah. And they will think, I just know the way that they operate is net run rate. They will still feel they had that hope of making the semi-finals. And the only way they're going to make the semi-final is not only winning, but winning well.
We have the cheat sheet. Can you bring the cheat sheet out that we had for Michael? The scenarios for how England can win. The 17-point plan that we've made. Yes, net run rate is one of them. Winning, of course, is the main part. And then, of course, so beat India today, win their remaining matches. India and South Africa win all their games, which means pushing everybody else down, right? Keeping their head below the water. New Zealand and Australia have to lose their remaining matches as well. Okay, so can I just put this in a nutshell? Is that England has to win all their matches and everybody else has to lose their matches.
Look, it's possible. It's cricket, it's possible.
I mean, if you are in that camp, all you have to think of is just win rest of the games.
First is think of today, right?
Yeah, it has been that kind of a tournament for you. So if you're playing for pride, what are you going to tell your squad? You're just going to basically go out there and say, okay, 4 matches are remaining. Let's just go out there, win all of them, and then we'll see where we are landing. But for that, you have to play good cricket. And I think at this stage, that's the only thing going for India's way right now, as we speak, because they have not been consistent with batting.
Yeah.
So if you get early inroads, that's going to create that scenario. If you get too defensive also when you're chasing these kind of totals, you can get in trouble.
They don't know that though, do they?
England of late have been very, very good at winning moral series. So the Ashes was won morally. They won the Ashes. That's what they were telling everyone. They'd won the Ashes. If they beat India today, if they beat India today, and India go on and win the World Cup, they'll say it's a moral victory. They beat the champions. I can see where they're thinking.
Yeah, I like it. The thing is, it's because it's Michael's birthday today. He's so optimistic. I like that. I love people who are optimistic on their birthday. That's good. I'm glad you're taking positives out of not very positive situations.
I've been around Baz McCullum and the England Bazball team. They only allow you to talk positively about everything. Every scenario is possible. Anything.
Well, I'll tell you something. They say that in all spirituality as well, right? Don't let negative thoughts enter your mind. And today, England will have to put those negative thoughts out of their mind if they have to chase this. But I'm going to come back to the India batting because, again, negative thoughts. And we have to talk about Shreyas Iyer and the short ball. He's got to start thinking positively or maybe less positively about it and not try to hit every one of them.
It's an open secret. Everyone knows about it. It's just that I've seen not many bowlers have been very persistent with the short ball to him. You've seen it's a hit and miss. So what his way of dealing with that short pitch approach is to go after it.
Yeah.
And he has been successful. It's not that he has not scored runs. You look at his average, you look at the innings which he's played. Every innings you've seen some bowler or the other will try a little bit and then he moves away. And that's something which he tries to do. Yes. So Shreyas knows that if he hits 1 or 2 shots of those short pitch deliveries, things are going to get easy for him. Today wasn't the case. He got out to that. You've seen in the tournament where he got out against New Zealand also, he was playing that shot, got out. That will be a concern. He'll have to figure out exactly which are the days where he needs to be a little smarter. And
I'll ask you a question. If Hardik Pandya's fit, who misses out?
Well, so far what we've been seeing from this team, I think is going to be straight swap. So they will possibly go
Suryakumar misses out.
But I'm adding the but.
You need to have that flexibility as well.
Yeah.
If you think that the pitch is going to have that extra bounce, Surya is also more than capable. If he's going to be playing that role, he's also batting in the similar fashion. He's got that approach. He's not going to be bogged down. Shreyas also is trying to do that. I think that's something which they were expecting from that number 4 position, to keep the tempo going. If you have a solid platform, you keep pushing that. So Shreyas has been good, and they've been giving him that preference.
But given, I think what Michael's question is now that Hardik comes back in a game or 2, what do you do then given the current scenario? The current scenario is, I think what Michael is implying here is that...
Well, if you're talking about the semi-finals...
I personally would have Sky all day long. Yeah. I think Suryakumar is an incredible player.
Yeah.
I think he's got everything covered, spin, pace.
Where Shreyas has won in that competition is that if you look at a few ODI series which India have been playing, in the last 6-8 months, Surya's consistency was not there in the ODI format.
Yeah.
And where you're looking at the numbers with Shreyas, he was a little more consistent.
Pre-injury.
In terms of, pre-injury.
Pre-injury.
So I think that's something which was the plan, say, 1.5 years pre-World Cup, when they're looking at scenarios? Shreyas was winning that, then he got injured. So when he came back, he got 100. So, that continuity is maintained.
I'll tell you what happens, right? I mean, if you don't play Shreyas, you can just move KL Rahul up to 4. Right? You have Hardik and Surya at 5 and 6, play them the way you want to. I'll tell you what the problem is. It's not Shreyas' fault. Can I tell you what the problem is? Problem is Vastu. It's Feng Shui, man. It's the World Cup and number 4 for India. Just is. It's quicksand. Just sucks you in. So I have a solution for it. Mr. Vaughan, Mr. Khan, I have a solution for it.
Okay.
Do you know how buildings and hotels don't have a 13th floor? You just go from 12 to 14.
So you don't have a number 4?
Just don't have a number 4. So we're not playing a number 4. We're playing 1, 2, 3 and then 5.
Yeah, just
6,
have a
7,
12th.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Yeah.
Yeah?
You can do that.
There you go. I'm just going to write a letter to ICC after the show is done. The MCC, sorry, not the ICC. Write a letter to the MCC. We can figure this out. I've got it. Your brother has got it covered. Don't worry about it. All right, but yes, Surya today was really good. Got 49. Missed out on his 50, of course, but he has really aided this India total. It aided the India total to get to a point of being competitive, which is 229. So I think he'll be very happy with his returns today. And for Shreyas, and I just want to just close that topic once, because what Zaheer was talking about, the short ball from a bowler's perspective, from an opposing captain's perspective, Michael, when you see a batter have, as what Zach is saying, an open secret. It's an open secret that Shreyas doesn't do well against the short ball, which is what he got out to now twice. How do you plan that? Does that become a factor when you're the opposing captain? And also then as a batter, how would you suggest he combats it?
Well, as a batter, he's got to get in the practice zone and get someone to fling plenty of short balls. I mean, if you're going to keep getting out to a certain shot, you have to improve that shot.
Or not play it, perhaps, or just to learn to leave
I would
it?
never say not play. I just say try and get better at playing it, because you need it in your armour. If people are going to bowl short to you, which they obviously are, you've got to have an answer. You can't just duck and weave in one-day cricket. You've got to have a positive response. It might be that the first few you have a look at, so you don't take it on as soon as you go out there. But once you've seen 1 or 2 and you've seen the pace of the pitch, you've got to have it in your repertoire to take it on in this era. So that's why he's got to get better at playing it. As a captain, you just set him up. You'd be throwing the ball to the even the 80-mile-an-hour seam and say you've got to go short.
Yeah.
We can set fields, we can set plans. It's clearly a method of getting a wicket, and when you have a clear method of getting somebody out, you just keep repetitively repeating those deliveries, and you back yourselves and you back your team and you back your fielders to get ready and take the catch.
Well, so there's a bit there for him to do. But I'll tell you one thing. We talk about the batters doing well. Let's not forget our 9th and Jack, right? Let's not forget. Look at that scoreboard once again. Look at the India batting card once, and you'll see that there's some runs which have come from down below where you don't expect them. And especially today, when there was a lot of talk that Shami's going to bat at 8. Yes, but Bumrah couldn't get bat to ball the first 10 balls that he batted, but then managed to hit a couple of boundaries. So he got 16. Kuldeep's got 9. What also helped was that Bumrah stuck around while Surya was scoring some runs. So I think there's about 40 odd that have been added in these last two wickets. We'll show you the partnership graphic, and you see when that wicket has fallen, right? There you go. You've got 25 with Surya and Bumrah, and 21 with Bumrah and Kuldeep. We'll look at the 80s and the 50s, right, that people have scored. But these 46 runs, Zach, these could be gold.
Yeah, could be. And I think that's something which you've seen in modern day cricket now.
Yeah.
Everyone giving that importance to lower order contribution. And teams have been successful also. So with Indian team also, you've seen that conscious effort being made. When you've been looking at Shardul's inclusion, it was purely on the basis of the bowler who can bat. So, that's the importance. That's the culture which is building generally now. And when you're seeing these numbers, Bumrah has scored in test matches also, and he takes his batting very seriously.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. He'll be very happy with that. It's one of those days where a bowler goes out there and contributes, and he says in the dressing room that, I'm also capable of delivering it for the team.
That's right. Maybe just nudge past one of the batters. Yeah, Voni, they do that, right? When the bowlers get runs.
Oh, there's nothing worse. Nothing worse when someone batting at 10 or 11 who can't bat just gets a few and walks past and goes, what were you doing? Maybe Jasprit's going past Virat and saying, Virat, what were you doing today? He's an interesting player to watch, Jasprit Bumrah. I always find him. I actually in a funny kind of way, I prefer watching tail-enders bat than I do some of the top-order players because
Yeah.
you're never quite sure where the ball... They don't know where the ball's going. So how do you set fields with it? And they always did it in stupid areas. But, that drop catch, Moeen Ali, I mean, it didn't seem massive at the time, but it probably gave India another 15 runs.
Yeah, true.
Which could be crucial in a low scorer.
Could be gold here today, but it's easy for England to know that they have to get it done in the power play. They can't be defensive like Zaheer said. They have to attack in the power play and they have to get as many of these runs possible in the power play for two reasons. One is that, there is help in the pitch, so use the field restrictions while you can. And secondly, that England's middle order is as brittle as my bones are the day after playing paddle. Yeah, Michael?
Well, yeah, just look at that league table there.
Yeah.
Not only are England bottom of the points table, the bottom of the middle order table, 4-7 contrast, average of 18.05. You look at India right at the top, no surprise. Sri Lanka even at number 4 there with an average of 43.07. Afghanistan 28. The Netherlands, the mighty team in orange, 26. Yeah, England have just been... Well, they fielded well today and they've bowled well, but throughout the tournament, their middle order has been very, very unlike England.
And that's 4-7. Those are some solid, marquee names coming from 4-7. These are no mugs who are coming out, right? These are proper, top of the bill kind of names that are coming. If you look at it, look at the England batting lineup. And yes, they have kind of chopped and changed a bit, but the one person who's constant there, Zach, is their captain, Joss Buttler. He's been constant. And I want to actually get Michael's point of view on this. He's been batting down. Would you move him up a bit? Would you just shake things up a bit?
I was saying back home, I believe in 50-over cricket. If you've got a player that can get you a 150, 180, you get him up as high as you possibly can.
Yeah.
I'd have Joss Buttler bat at number 4 in this England team.
Yeah.
I just think he's that good a player. Why waste him down at 6 when he might only come in for the last 15, 20 overs? He's such a brilliant player. Yes, Ben Stokes is a fantastic left-handed player, but I have Joss Buttler as England's greatest ever white ball batter.
Yeah.
I want to see him, if he can face 80 to 100 balls in white ball cricket, 50-over cricket, get him out there, because I would guarantee if he faces 80 to 100, he will have 150. And when you've got individual players that can get you those big, big scores, look at Rohit Sharma, he can get double centuries.
Yeah.
There's never a question, you're opening the batting, Rohit, because you can get as a monster score. And I just think Joss Buttler, where he bats at the minute for England, he can only get you a 50 or a 70. Whereas I think he's got the game, and we've seen it in the past where he's got hundreds. But in this particular England side, I just think, and on these wickets in India, I'd have had him at number 4 throughout the tournament.
Yeah, and Zach, get you in on Johnny Bairstow. He is definitely much better than this. He has batted enough in India. In the IPL, you've seen him. He's lit it up, batted all over the country. Today is a really good chance for him to say there's no scoreboard pressure. We've done well in the first innings. We probably don't have a chance to qualify. You're scared of people who have nothing to lose. Can we see Johnny Bairstow express himself today in the first 10?
Look, in this format for an opener, there's never a pressure scenario, because how you play the game, how you take the game on is up to you. Yeah. In fact, you have a luxury of saying that, okay, you have the whole 6 batters to come later, which is going to do the job for you. So that gives you that much freedom. I think it's just a form thing. With England team also, if you look at it, all the batters on paper, these are solid names. They've done enough for them to be recognized as match winners. Like you look at Liam Livingstone, Buttler, Bairstow, Malan, Root. All these guys have been very consistent with winning matches for their teams. So right now, it's just a form thing. And that's why it was so important that you often speak about the pivot. You get into a tournament, you plan for a tournament. Now things are not going your way. What England have been doing is that they've been changing that playing 11. I think what they needed to do, identify that, okay, batting has not been firing for us. Let's get Joss Buttler up. He's been playing so much of cricket in these conditions, and once he's on song, he's one man who can just win you matches just on single-handedly. He can win matches for you. So that is something which they should have done. Yeah. That pivot should have been just shuffling that batting order, finding which players, because Ben Stokes was not available, and Brook was playing in place of him. He scored runs. Then they forced him to play. They were forced to play another game for him. So that is something which has not helped them. I think that pivot should have been Joss Buttler opening with Bairstow. They have the solid partnership. Things start moving. Bowlers are under pressure just by the repetition of a player.
Yeah.
And that could have been an approach which they should have gone with.
Maybe they missed the bus here. And talking about that brittle middle order, I'm just going to bring in Kuldeep Yadav and Ravindra Jadeja here a quick second, because a brittle middle order, well, you don't want to go up against, Ravindra Jadeja and Kuldeep Yadav, who've been very good and very effective. But the only thing today that could come in their way is dew, because we already saw it coming.
Yeah, I mean, dew is what England are desperate for. That's why they decided to bowl first. With dew, they might bring a little bit more swing. There might be some more movement for the seamers. And I'm looking at Johnny Bairstow at the top of the order, who does like to throw his hands. And if there's any ounce of just a little bit of nippage, and particularly the ball that nips back onto the pads, he generally offers quite a big gate, Johnny. He kind of gets his hands going this way, there's a big gate, and it's that ball that nips back is always the threat to Johnny Bairstow. He will come out flinging. He will come out pumped up, his chest will be pumped, and he'll be trying to whack a few fours. And if particularly Bumrah, Shami gets that length right and get the ball moving back into the stumps, you could see Johnny Bairstow. He gets castled quite early, quite often, when there's a bit of zip. So I just hope he gives himself just a little bit of time. Give himself a bit of time to get in, and then he'll always catch up because he's got the gift of being able to hit boundaries.
It seems counterintuitive for England. We've been saying play your natural game, but today they should probably hold that natural game back, because once the dew comes in, spinners not being that effective, the chase could become easier. So I'd love to see how psychologically this first 10 overs moves, right? And for India, of course, you've got, linchpins in the first 10. They're going to be coming and try to knock a few wickets out and get that brittle middle order exposed. I think this is going to be a very exciting second half. Don't look at the 229 and say, foregone conclusion. I think, like Michael said, there's going to be a twist. I think there's going to be a few twists and turns in this game. We're going to do our power play predictions and then scoot out of here. Zach, we'll start with you. How many in the power play for England?
I think 45.
45. What is that? What was that?
56.
No,
56.
I'll just sit comfortably then in the mid. No, actually, let me go up. I feel they're going to start and get some runs. Right? I'm going to go 65. 65 is mine. All right, that's all we have time for. We're going to see you at the end of the 15th over with Cricbuzz Combox. See where this chase is going. England needs to get 230 to give India their first defeat in this campaign. In the 6th game, India's on 5 right now. Can they do it? Well, it's going to be pretty exciting. We're going to be here with you on Cricbuzz Live at the end of the game. But before that, Cricbuzz Combox at the end of the 15th. Big thank you to Michael Vaughan and Zaheer Khan. Thank you so much. I'm Gaurav Kapur. We'll see you in a bit. Bye-bye.